I think we've got everything set now. All the settings are in place. Slide towards the front of your chair, stack the spine. Close the eyes and focus in on the breath. And as we focus in on the breath, notice the quality of the breath today. Is it moving freely? And I know I ask you to do this at the start of every class, but it gives us an indication just of what we might be bringing into the practice with us. Some of the things that maybe we want to set aside for the next 60 minutes of our practice. Concentrating on moving the breath more deeply into the lower lungs. And today, bring your focus to the exhale breath. And try to empty the lungs as completely as possible on the exhale breath to make sure there's lots of room for that next inhale. Even out the flow of the breath between our inhale and our exhale breath. And now establish the rhythm that's going to carry you throughout the class. That rhythm where we have a slightly extended exhale breath. So if you're using a 4 count on your inhale, perhaps a 6 or 8 count on your exhale. Let's do 4 complete rounds of the breath, finding our own rhythm of inhaling and exhaling, but trying to find that extended exhale breath. Inhale. 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 Final round. Inhale. And exhale. Let's open the eyes, come towards the front of our chair. Take a look down at the feet. Connect the feet with the floor. And we're just going to do a bit of, start out our practice today, but just doing a bit of movement of the feet. Just moving the feet around in various directions, trying to feel the contact between the feet and the floor in as many different spots as you can. So if you're not practicing in bare feet, this would be certainly a good time to practice in bare feet. If you try this sometime, you may want to try this on different surfaces to notice that different tactile feel on different surfaces. So just moving the feet around. Let's go to the other foot. Roll to the side, maybe up onto the toes, onto the inner edge, outer edge. Lift the toes to come onto the heel. Work around. And then now let's tap the right toes. Tap the left toes. And then go heel toe, both feet. And now we'll do our inchworm work where we put the feet flat on the floor, curl the toes to draw the heel forward for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then move the foot back by digging the toes in and pushing the heel back. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's do it again on the right foot. Pull forward for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then push back for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Third time, we'll pull forward for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then push back for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So try and make sure, isolate the movement in the toes. Let's pull the left foot forward for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then push back for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull again forward for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and back for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Final time, pull forward for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and back for 1, 2, 5, and 6. And just come back to that action of allowing yourself to feel the foot contact of the floor in various spots. Let's find our strap. And as I said, we'll do a little bit of also see if we can work on stretching out that Achilles tendon a little bit from a seated position for those of you that may find the block a little precarious when we get later into our practice. So just stretching that right foot now out in front of us and drawing the right toes in towards the body. Breathing here, lengthening the spine, stacking the spine, drawing the toes in. Breathe. And let's switch over to the other foot. Stretch now the left foot, strap is around toe bases. Press the mound of the big toe into the resistance of the strap and draw the little toe side of the foot slightly towards you with the strap. See if we can get that stretch into the calf, Achilles tendon. And let's release the right leg on the floor. Walk the feet slightly wider than hip distance and let the knees sway in on each other. Trying to warm up the knees and the hips. And once more on each side. Come back through center and return to center. And now we're going to interlace the fingers and draw the right knee towards the right shoulder. And flex and point the toes on that right foot as you draw the knee in. And try circling towards the right. And circle left. Well, let's release the right ankle onto the left thigh, or allow the left foot, right foot to come inside the edge of the, to the inner edge of the left foot. Try not to let that the ankle collapse towards the floor. Keep that. Keep this distance here rather than letting that ankle go down. So keep that distance, press the foot in, or come up here. And maybe if the foot's on the opposite thigh, you can try weaving the fingers into the toes. Giving the foot a bit of a massage. And then just work around the base of the foot. You can give the toes a bit of a gentle tug. Try and find different areas on the foot. And now let's support the right knee with the right hand. And this works with either the foot at the side of the foot or up on the block. And press the knee into the resistance of the hand and hold. And then let go of that resistance and let the knee move any amount down towards the floor. Let's press in again and release. Take a nice deep breath in, press, and then on your exhale breath, let go of that pressure. Slide the knee across. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And now let's take the right hand behind us and twist ourselves towards the right side. Inhaling here. Exhale and twist. Inhale, come back through center. Uncurl the legs. Take the feet a bit wider than hip distance and let the knees sway from side to side. And come back to center. Interlace the fingers in our non-dominant interlace, and let's draw the left knee towards the left shoulder. Come back to the center of the sit bones, flex and point the toes. Circle in one direction and circle in the opposite direction. Foot to the inner edge of the foot, on the block, or onto the opposite thigh. Flex the toes towards the shin. Press the mound of the big toe out. And once again, an option to interlace, weave the fingers into the toes. Spread the feet out. And then just massage the base of the foot. Flex the toes again towards the shin. Support the left knee with the left hand. And then inhale and press the knee into the hand. And then exhale, let it release. Inhale and press in. Exhale, let it release. Inhale and press in. And exhale, let it release. Take the feet back to the floor and let the knees sway in on one another. Come back to center, stack the spine. Breathe here. Now let's just reach down and just find the Achilles tendon and just notice, just palpitate the Achilles tendon. So start down at the heel and just come up. And maybe you can almost think like you're plucking it like a guitar string. And let's go to the other side once again. Just finding the Achilles tendon, following it up, massaging it, maybe plucking it a little bit. And now let's find our blocks. So again, just trying to think about a way to do this work from our chair rather than standing. So, and maybe bring the blocks onto under the feet and then just let the heels descend gently towards the floor. Feel the stretch in the Achilles tendons. And let's lift up away. So down. Up. Down. And back up. And down. And try and stretch out. Let's come off the block again. Just set your blocks aside. You can bring them to any height beside the ankles. Stack up the spine. Let's continue up the body. First of all, let's stretch that right leg out. Maybe shift yourself just to give yourself a bit more freedom of movement in the right hip. If you take that right hip just slightly off the edge of the chair, press the heel into the floor. Toes are pointing straight up, and open the leg out to the side and bring it back. Again, come out and back for 2. Out for 3. Back for 3. Out for 4. Back for 4. Out for 5. Back for 5. Out for 6. Back for 6. Out for 7. Back for 7. Out for 8. Back for 8. 9. 9. 10. 10. 11. 11. And 12. Leave the leg out to the side and just rotate the foot through the range of motion, whatever range of motion, sort of taking the inner edge of the foot to the floor and then opening it out to the side. Towards the floor, towards the side, towards the floor and towards the side. Bring the foot about halfway back. So maybe out at about a 45 degree. And again, rotate the foot first externally and then rotate internally. Rotate externally, rotate internally, rotate externally, and rotate internally. Finally, bring it back out in front, rotate externally, internally, rotate externally, internally, rotate externally, and come back to center. Draw the right foot in, shift yourself over the left side. And now toes pointing straight up, heel pressing down into the mat, open out to the right, or left, sorry, left, and back in. Try to keep that outward pressure on the mound of the big toe, out and in, out and in, out and in. 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, and 12. Hold 12 out. Rotate the foot externally for 1, and then internally for 1, externally for 2, internally for 2, externally for 3, internally for 3, and now move back to about a 45-degree angle out towards the side. In for 1, out for 1. In for 2, out for 2, in for 3, out for 3, and then come back to center. Out for 1, in for 1. Out for 2, in for 2, out for 3, and in for 3, and come back to seated mountain. Just, we'll take 3 breaths in seated mountain pose, just to allow the body a chance to reset slightly. And come back to that long exhale rhythm. Now we're going to try and just work a bit on stretching a diagonal line in the body, so that we'll begin by taking that left foot back out and stretching the right arm up. Just trying to stretch long, sort of working on that diagonal line across the body. Inhale, draw the left leg in, release the right arm. Go back to that about 45-degree angle and stretch out in the opposite direction. Come back to center. Draw the feet in. Let's do that just once more on each side, just to sort of see if it feels a little different the second time on each side. So that foot is angled about 45 degrees. Turn the body slightly to the side. Exhale and reach the hand and try and make as much distance between the hand and the foot as you can. Draw the leg in, release the hand, stretch the right leg out, the left hand, and stretch. Again, thinking of that diagonal that runs from the foot to the palm of the hand. Come back to center. And let's come into center. Let's continue to warm up the spine now with some cat-cow moves. So inhale, lift the sternum. And exhale, round towards the back of the chair. Inhale up. And really deepen your inhale as you come into that cow part of the move. Once more, inhale up. And then exhale, traction the knees. Let the shoulder blades move away from the spine as we come towards the back of the chair. Inhale, come up to center. And we're going to do some lateral movement now of the spine. So you can either do it with or without your weights. Oh, the weights just add a little more resistance, a little more chance to strengthen some of the muscles that move the body laterally. So sitting towards the front of the chair, weights centered on the sit bones, front to back, side to side. Inhale and exhale, take the right hand down towards the floor. Come back through center and go left. Try to keep the right sit bone pressing in as the left hand goes down. For 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now for 7, we'll raise the opposite arm for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and 12. And let's come back to center. Glue the elbows to the lowest rib. And again, you can do this with or without the weights. So exhale, bring the weights to center. Inhale, open the arms out to the side for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11, and 12. Let's set our weights down. Let's find one of our blocks, place it on the left side of the chair. You can shift your body slightly towards the right side of the chair and stretch the right leg out towards the right side. And see if you can roll the hips forward so the hips are coming closer to being stacked. So Laura, this is basically a side plank assisted on the chair. So you can reach the hand down towards the block and then stretch that leg or the arm overhead for an extended side plank. Let's come back up to center and turn that into a modified warrior 2. And then bring the right hand onto the right thigh and come to reverse warrior. Inhale, come back to center. Draw that right leg in. Let's shift the body now towards and move our block towards the right side. And take the left leg out. We can begin like that. We might just stay here or bring that hand onto the block, stretch the arm overhead, and breathe here. Inhale, come back up to warrior 2. Ooh. This is not part of the move. This is me getting a bit of a cramp in this leg. There. Come to warrior 2. And reverse warrior. Inhale, come back up to center. So now let's come up and do a bit of standing work. So we'll come to stand behind our chair. So we're facing the back of the chair. And just have your blocks available behind your chair. We'll begin our standing work in standing mountain pose. So coming to standing mountain pose, find our standing mountain pose behind our chair. Breathe here. And feel the strength of this pose. Feel the strength of the pose from each of those points of contact you identified at the start of our practice. As we worked with the feet, feel that strength projecting down into the floor and coming up the legs, through the pelvis, up the spine, through the shoulders, and coming right to the top of the head. And almost feel like the top of the head is lifting up towards the ceiling. And interlace the fingers and place them on the top of the head and see if you can press the top of the head into the interlaced hands. Lengthening the spine, growing millimeters taller. Let's bring the hands down. Bring the hands to the back of the chair. We'll step the right foot back, come onto the toes, stack the heel of the right foot over the toes, straighten the front leg, and now gently, this isn't a bouncing move, we're just gently pressing ourselves pressing that heel towards the floor, feeling the stretch all the way down the back line of the legs. If you feel stable, you might lift the opposite arm up and come back to that diagonal stretch. Release the left hand back onto the chair and see if there's any more room to take that right heel down towards the floor. Maybe even bending the right knee a bit towards the floor to increase that range of motion in the ankles and stretch that out. Let's inhale, step the right leg in towards the chair and come back up to our standing mountain pose. See if there's a difference in that connection of the right foot to the floor, and perhaps trace that connection up along the diagonal to the left hand. Now, come back onto the back of the chair. Let's step the left foot back. Bring the left heel above the left toes. And gently allow take the left heel down towards the floor. Trying to keep that foot square and stretch. And then perhaps bending the knee, the left knee, in towards the floor as well. Keeping that stretch, maybe the right hand can come away and come back to that diagonal action. Bring the hand back to the floor or to the chair. And let's step the left foot back and come back to our standing mountain pose. With your blocks behind the chair, supporting yourself as much or as little as you need on the chair, let's step the right toes onto the block. Now, if your blocks are a 4-inch block, you may find that's too much. If you have a blanket handy, and this is it's best with a fairly firm blanket, you could also just step the foot onto a blanket. This one's not quite firm enough. But just lean a bit forward, lean into that stretch of the Achilles. Now on the right side, the foot is pointing straight forward here. Now let's turn the right toes, angle them slightly out towards the right side. So we're getting into a little different area of the Achilles. Move in and stretch. And now let's back off. Turn the toes inward now. So we did straight ahead, we did out, now we're doing in. And just lean the body in towards the chair. Let's release, come back to center. And now we'll just do this one leg at a time. See if you can lift the heel on that on the foot that's on the block. Lift up and away from the floor and down, up and away and down for 3, 4, and 5. Step the right toes off and come back to our standing mountain pose. And just do a scan of the body and notice if that right side feels a little bit different from the left side from having that stretching work we've just done. Bring the hands back onto the chair. Let's move now to place the left foot on the edge of the block. And we'll begin with the toes pointing straight forward. So just to show you here, toes are going to be pointing straight forward. And keeping that leg straight, just leaning in. No bouncing, moving with a steady, even pressure. Come back up. Now, angle the toes out towards the side of the block. Inhale here. Again, just do the same stretch, but just getting into a little different area of the muscles. Keep the breathing really slow and even here, and emphasize the exhale to allow that relaxation effect that comes on our exhale breaths to be maximized. Let's inhale, release that pressure. And now turn the toes any amount inwards. You know, the amount of inward rotation you have is going to be, may not be that much, and may be substantially different from what it was on the other side. So again, leaning in. Come out, and let's bring that foot back to center. So pointing straight forward, and then lift and lower the heel. So you can bring both feet onto the blocks, or just you might find it more stable to just do one leg at a time. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's come back to center, and maybe both feet can come now onto the blocks. And lift the heels up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And step back and come back to standing mountain pose. And now notice again, start from the feet. Start from each of those points of the foot where you're making contact. Feel that strength moving down into the mat, into the floor, and rebounding all the way up to the top of the head. So, since we've got the blocks here beside our chair, now we're going to turn sideways to our chair with the blocks on the floor. Step onto the blocks. Raise ourselves up. And with that, whichever foot's off the floor, let the foot move down towards the floor without bending the knee. So we're just moving, we're pivoting tilting the hips down towards the floor and then lifting them away. So the movement is coming from that movement of the pelvis up and down, like we're walking on uneven ground. Once more up and once more down. And then let that leg swing like a pendulum. And try and isolate the movement in the hip joint rather than the pelvis tilting forward and back. Bring the leg back to center and lift out to the side for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And let's come off. You can either turn around or move the chair to the opposite side. And let's come up on this side again. So lift the outside foot away from the chair and isolating the movement in the pelvis. Without bending the supporting knee, take the foot towards the floor, lift away. 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 And if you don't feel comfortable doing this on the blocks, you could just take the foot to the floor and bring that leg back to center. Let's let that leg sway like a pendulum. Back to center and lift to the side for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Come off the blocks. Move the blocks aside and come to standing mountain behind your chair. So now we've done all this work with the lower body. Let's finish off this work with the lower body with tree pose. So building the foundation in our chair side foot, you can take the knee away, bring the foot to the inner edge of the ankle, up onto the calf perhaps, or the inner thigh. Find our tree, raise the arms. I'm going to hold for about another 25 seconds. 15, 10, 5, and come back to center and release. Come off that supporting leg, bounce, shake. Jump a little bit. And come back to the second side. Think of all those points of contact on the foot with the floor. Feel that foundation, the strength in that foot as we raise the outside leg. Either staying here, opening, coming onto the calf, or to the inner thigh. Hands together, heart center. Focus on something other than your screen. In 30 seconds. $20. $10. $5. Oh. The center. And come out. Let that leg swing. Bounce around a little bit. And let's come back to seated. Or you can stay in tree. Coming back to our seated mountain pose. Inhale, stretch the top of the head towards the ceiling. Take the left hand to the outside of the right thigh and twist towards our right side. Breathe here. Inhale, exhale, come back through center and twist in the opposite direction. Inhale, exhale, come back to center. Let the knees sway from side to side. And now take the next few moments to do whatever allows you to best prepare for final relaxation. So taking a drink, putting on some extra clothing, coming back to center, slowing the breath down. And today, as we come into relaxation, let's first pay attention to the breath. Relinquish control of the breath. Let the breath become soft, even, gentle. And today our focus was a lot on the lower body, the feet, lower body. So bring the attention to the toes, to the soles of the feet, to the arches of the feet, and the heels. Allow the toes, the soles of the feet, the arches of the feet, and the heels to completely relax. Breathe. The toes, the soles of the feet, the arches of the feet, and the heels are completely relaxed. Moving to the ankles, to the Achilles tendons, to the muscles of the calf and the shin. Allow the ankles, the Achilles tendon, the calves, and the shins to completely relax. Breathe. The ankles, the Achilles tendons, the calves, and the shins are completely relaxed. We now come to the knees, the thighs, and hips. Allow the knees, the thighs, and the hips to completely relax. Breathe. The knees, the thighs, and the hips are completely relaxed. Encompassing the whole body, allow the whole body to completely relax. Breathe. The whole body is completely relaxed. Now gently, consciously bring motion back to the body by first deepening the breath, wiggling the fingers, the toes, circle the ankles and wrists, nod the head forward and back, side to side. Slide back towards the front of our chair. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale it with a sigh through the mouth. Arms come to the side. Inhale the arms overhead. Draw the hands back to heart center. And thank yourself for making time for today's practice. Thank each other for sharing your practice. And thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. Namaste.